Welcome back YouTubers to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories with autism and the like, along with tips and advice along the way for your mental health or your general health in general. I'm hoping to be a girl as your advocate support person in one way or another of whatever you may be going through, and hopefully with some of these messages, regardless of what they are, that comes from my personal journal excerpts or just based on my personal experiences, that will shed some light for you and giving you guys some clarity, understanding, a bit of hope that you're not alone. Okay, in saying this, right now this one's all about autism, as you know, because obviously I'm trying to finish up some of the loose ends of the autistic and series, even though there's going to be broader range of it as well with the mental health as well that's coming of late that will have to be in process. So this one's all about how to interview everybody or somebody with autism. So if you know somebody with autism, you've got to bear in mind that everybody on the autism spectrum is obviously different, be it if they're on a high or low scale or what have you. Some will have some better intellect and understanding than others. Some will have other varying traits and characteristics that will vary from person to person in the different age groups. So we need to bear in mind on that when we come and approach certain people with autism or Aspergers Syndrome or the like of everything else that comes under that umbrella of the autism spectrum disorder. So, as we know, basically, for many of us, as I said before, interviews, eek! Most of us will find it overwhelming, maybe nerve-wracking, maybe, I don't know, a whole range of mixed feelings, regardless what it is. But then again, you've got to bear in mind that we need the best chance of getting interviewed as well for us autistics. I feel that even though there is starting to be more understanding openings for jobs in a way of doing stuff, that we should be able to get on our way and hopefully be able to be horrible. But in saying that, some of the best interviews you're ever likely to come across or give will be the people that are experiencing autism. They're more likely than most to have a deep and rich understanding of the subjects that they're particularly interested in, and they may eventually talk it out to death regardless of what that topic may be, many of which may have led them to apply for the role that you're interviewing for. However, it's also essential that you know a little bit about autism before interviewing somebody with the condition to make sure that everything goes smoothly and nobody, including the interviewer, that will then feel uncomfortable. So therefore, being comfortable is a long way. And obviously, in my last few experiences with few interviews I've had in the past, basically, I've come to realize that, you know, it should be by rights, like if I had a portfolio or something in front of me or what have you, just to clearly show or prove that I can do the work, as well as actually go about my merry way and actually say, hey, yep, this is me, I'm autistic, but this label won't define me for who I am, what I am. I'm just an everyday individual that has some differences. I just need some people to come to an understanding agreement with me and actually come on board with me to actually support my goals and dreams like anybody else would in the natural workforce of the NTs would have their goals and dreams and visions to be met, regardless what it may be. However, it's also essential that when I said about this, about being uncomfortable, that, you know, we need to come to a realization point or some sort of degree that many of us autistics, we don't need awareness as such, but we need to feel accepted by individuals. So for starters, I want to clearly address is find the special interest or the special niche for those who are autistic. People that are autistic are likely to have a heightened interest in a particular field or what have you. They're usually great at retaining the facts and figures, and if you find that special interest of theirs, you'll make them feel instantly comfortable and they're likely to open up a bit more. Another one is to bear in mind is a don't here. Don't forever put an autistic in a box. It's easy for somebody who doesn't understand autism to make generalizations, or a form of the word is assumption right there and then. But really, individuals with autism are just as unique as everybody else. Some may struggle with speech, some may be incredibly articulate, some may be sensitive to light, others may be sensitive to sound. Some may respond well to your body language and facial expressions, others may seem to be despondent. Due to these everyday differences, it's always wise to put the needs of the individual above your own. You need to be open to adjusting the environment to making them comfortable, or perhaps be willing to communicate in an alternative light. Dispense with social etiquette and jokes. You've got to bear in mind though that some autistics may not be able to understand jokes or sarcasm. This may not come naturally in a work environment though, however, but individuals don't respond, as I said, respond well to sarcasm, jokes, or any certain kinds of small talk that might require them to respond to you in some kind of everyday language. Express yourself clearly and consciously, and try to avoid social ambiguity and complex body language. Be ready to go with the flow. Sometimes in order to get the most of the interviewing of the individual with autism, you need to be ready to go off on a tangent. Those with autism connect things in ways we might not be able to understand initially, we as in NTs. And they may see the world in a very different way, It may seem like they're changing the subject or talking about something that may be unrelated to what you've just said, but perhaps they're just relating to your question or comment in a less obvious way. Tapping into this will help a great deal. Last but not least is, don't worry about any delayed responses. As we know, sometimes when we're engaging in conversation with someone who has autism, it may seem like the conversation comes to a complete standstill, and you may begin to feel a little awkward, but that's okay. Some people with autism tend to not think in words, and it can take them longer to process and respond to a question. It doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't understood the question that you have asked them first at hand. Patience is key, as well as a bit of empathy. If they didn't understand, they're likely to ask you to rephrase it just as anybody else would in an everyday normal conversation. Getting the most of employers with autism. As mentioned, all the different conditions and symptoms that an individual with autism can experience, from sensitive to light and sound and difficulties with social interaction and so on and so forth. As an employer, here are some things to consider to make your workplace more autism friendly. Before their first day, when they're about to begin, get organised. Make sure that any induction material or corporate information is sent out beforehand so they're fully aware of what to expect. This may include things such as where they'll be likely to be working, any uniform requirements if there's any in the job that they've applied for, when their lunch break is, what holiday provisions there are, etc. etc. You may even consider a pre-start date visit so they can familiarise themselves with the office space and the people there, which should make them less anxious on the very big day of when they start work. Having a structured environment. Some people with autism really value a structured working environment. These individuals tend to enjoy routines and patterns, so work with them on establishing daily priorities and activities, and organise things into a daily, weekly, and monthly schedule. Sometimes it's better to give individuals with autism more space than others, preferably away from noise and traffic, to make them even less anxious. Be reassuring and be prepared. It's common for those with autism to become perfectionists or to be perfectionists. They can become generally distressed if what they're doing isn't meticulous, or they're suddenly pulled out of their routine in a real big way. If something goes wrong at work, have a solution lined up for them. For example, if a printer breaks down, make sure they know they can use the one on the second floor so their work doesn't have to suffer. If they get something wrong and that thing is out of their control, such as arriving late due to traffic demands, make it clear to them that it isn't a problem and work on carrying as usual, normal as usual. Get visuals. Many individuals with autism tend not to think in words, or if they do it with difficulty, and it can take a long time for them to understand and process what needs to be done. It's one of the reasons they often struggle with abstract concepts and forward planning. Implementing visual aids can help them to process information quickly and easily, and eventually increase their confidence and independence. Get on their page and they're likely to excel beyond their expectations as well as yours. So this quickly ends basically a quick overview of, interviewing individuals with autism. Give me a like for a thumbs up for support, comment below. Feel free to share these videos around. Feel free to follow me on my social media sites listed below. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Basically, as I said, I'm hoping to do this on the daily. If not, it's going to be 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Feel free to share these videos around to family and friends. Feel free to also, if you haven't done so, if you wish to, turn on the notification bell after subscribing so you can keep up to date with new prospects of what Aspen might be up to in the next few days, hopefully leading up to the end of the year and beyond this year. So in order to do also, if you want to, choice is yours. If you can give something towards my Patreon account that should be floating around when you see it, at the end card. So if you want to do that, feel free to visit that page of mine. So in all for the do, guys, thanks for support, thanks for watching, do what you love what you do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.